introduction. Could you imagine if on Monday you woke up, you got dressed, and you put on your superhero cape and went to work? How cool would that be? Now, some of you are thinking, that is so cool, I want to do that. I want to go Monday, get dressed, and put my cape on. But most of you are saying, I will never do that. You will never see me in a cape unless it's Halloween. It doesn't matter whether you chose the cape or didn't choose the cape. What matters is how you decided. My name is Kedma, and I'm here to share the surprising solution to achieving any of your goals. I call it the big idea. Belief plus imagination to have the goals you've always wanted to achieve. Now, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't always a superhero. This is me at age 7. I realized 2 things at age 7. One, I was born into a horror movie. And unfortunately, in a horror movie, the victims rarely escape. But 2, I realized that I had the power to imagine that nobody could take away from me. And there I was, watching TV, probably for the 100th time. Probably guessed it, Linda Carter playing out Wonder Woman. Except this moment was different. This moment, as I looked through the screen, I made a connection. I realized this was not a TV show anymore. I was Wonder Woman. I was the superhero. In fact, the villain was supposed to be in my life. You can't be a superhero without a villain trying to harm you. And I had to save myself. Nobody was coming to save me. It would take about 10 more years before I left my environment physically, and I went into hiding for 5 years, and I made a commitment to spend the rest of my life opening doors to every single person I meet. I want to acknowledge my mother in the room, because she's one of my top superheroes. Thank you. So this big idea, what I'm about to share, this belief tied to an imagination that is so real that it creates the goal you've always wanted to achieve. For the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of working with inventors and innovators, and what I can tell you is this. Every inventor and innovator I've worked with, and I've worked with more than 10,000, began with an imagination. Imagination that I call, again, this big idea. But even that began from a moment where I created a second big idea, before I even started this concept. Back in 2001, I had to leave a very difficult relationship, and I remember the hard choice I had to file bankruptcy, which is hard for me because I'm in the finance world. But I didn't file bankruptcy because I didn't know how to save money. I had no other choice. And I remember the moment in Tucson, I was sobbing my eyes out, and I went back to my apartment, and 2 weeks later, I received a credit card from Capital One for $200. And I thought to myself, why? Why are they giving me a credit card when I just filed bankruptcy for $200? And then it happened. I remember as a little girl, I would play the board game Monopoly. And if you've ever played Monopoly, you know you could be on the board, totally broke, everything's mortgaged, but if you roll the dice and pass go, the banker has to give you $200. There we go. $200. That was the moment I said, I just got played back in the game. What if, this is my big idea, what if I go on a journey to uncover every fund, every resource, every opportunity for people like me? It took me 15 years. I became absolutely obsessed. I reverse engineered how to find money for people who are not bankable and leveraged over $100 million for these 10,000 entrepreneurs. The big idea. I want to share someone who means a lot to me, David Vidmar. David Vidmar came to me about 10 years ago, like every inventor, right? They have an imagination. And one thing to understand is with that imagination, it's real to them at that moment. That's what needs to be clear here. So he came and he says, I have an idea. I said, what's the idea? He says, well, I just came back from the rainforest. And I saw this guy gliding, almost flying back and forth on cables, transporting bananas. I said, okay. Well, what if I can experience that on the ground? What if it feels like I'm flying, but I use some kind of transportation? Now, most of you, if you heard David Vidmar at that moment, would have said, come on, it's not going to work. It's not logical. Where's the metrics? Where's the evidence? I don't see it. It doesn't matter if you see it. What matters is it real to them? Is it useful? And can it meet a goal? So he went on to start this concept and build the prototype and create the patent and create opportunities for people. And today, the Glide Cycle has helped hundreds of thousands of people not only manage their weight, but change the lives of amputees who can come back after they've lost a limb and cycle again. The question is where are you in the creative genius space? Sadly, I'm going to say that NASA thinks you're at 2% as adults. If you're a child here, congratulations. You have more chances. Let me explain. NASA did a study and pulled out 1,600 kids at age 5 to test their creative genius space. 98% rated as creative genius. So they followed the kids. Age 10, 30%. Age 15, 12%. And by the time they became adults, only 2%. Why? Where did the imagination go? Did someone rob them? Did it diminish? Did it get taken away? Where did it go? And what if we can reimagine for ourselves? I'm going to challenge you to think that way. I'm going to challenge you to look at, can you do it for yourself? Because it's not just me and it's not just inventors. We actually researched everyday people who are not inventors. Guess what? The young kids, 6 or 7, couldn't wait to tell us their imaginary belief that was real to them. Some of them are like, yeah, I believe Bigfoot is real. Some are like, I know that Tinkerbell is real. Most of them said Santa Claus is not real, just to let you guys know, okay? They knew that. But the adults, when we posed it, they were a little bit more uncomfortable. And yet when we began asking them, we would hear all these stories. One gentleman, successful businessman, he says, I don't want anyone to know, but I believe I'm a king. A king? Well, how is that useful? Well, when I go into negotiation, I'm going after my kingdom. Another gentleman said, I'm a marathon runner, and I believe in order for me to get to the end, check this out, there's a grizzly bear chasing me. Now listen, I don't care if there's a grizzly bear chasing them or not. I'm not here to discuss that. What I care about is he's able to win the race because he believes it's real for him. It's imagination that's believable to achieve the goal. So here's what I want to invite. I'm going to invite because if I say, do this, your brain is going to say, no way, not doing this. This is ridiculous. But if I invite, there's a safe space. And I want to invite this. I want to invite you to have an opportunity to take the next 90 days and choose an imaginary belief. Now, I've been doing this for too long. If you come to me like, yeah, I believe that this leprechaun is going to make me win the lottery in 90 days, I'm going to say it's not going to work. We all know the lottery is almost impossible. I believe the leprechaun part, not the lottery. Okay? So it's got to be something that's real to you that you believe you can achieve. And it can be a small goal, health-related, career-related. It doesn't have to be a life-threatening goal. But journey with me on that. Choose an imaginary belief that you can tie into something real for you, useful for you, to achieve the goal you want. And see what happens after 90 days. In fact, I challenge you to reach out to me and see how that experience has opened your opportunity for fun and freedom and focus. I want to leave you with this, one of my favorite quotes by Seal. In a world full of people Only some want to fly. Isn't that crazy? I'm going to ask you to fly with me. Thank you.